Welcome to another F1 Clash video. Today I'm on a mission to find out the truth about track stats. Do they actually matter? And because I would be quite surprised if they don't matter at all, how much do they actually matter? In this video, we're gonna find out. Alright, so now we're in F1 Clash, and as you all know, the track stats always consist of one car stat and one driver stat. So here, for example, in Spa, it's tire management and power unit. And today, to keep things simple, we're only going to focus on the car stat. So at Spa, it would be power unit, and of course it's different for every track. And today's test is going to take place in Series 3 because there, all the tracks have cornering as the favored, as the optimal, as the recommended car stat. And I also prepared two car setups, and we're going to start with this one. It has a team score of 804, remember that, that's important for later. And it's a relatively balanced car if we take a look at the stats. So speed, cornering, power unit, qualifying, all relatively similar, relatively balanced. So this is going to be our car to kind of set the benchmark time before we later optimize a car for cornering. So now let's head into the first race. Alright, so the first race is taking place at Austin, and most important thing, I'm going to start a timer right now. As soon as the race starts, the timer starts, and in this race, I'm going to do absolutely nothing. I'm going to keep both my drivers on the medium power setting, and I'm going to pit at the same time each race, and I'm going to take the same tire strategy for each race. And yeah, we're just gonna take a look at, first right now we're setting the benchmark time. We're gonna take a look at the overall race time that I need to complete the entire Grand Prix. So that's what the entire race, that's what the timer is for. But we're also gonna take a look at my finishing position as a team and how many points I score. Because some of you may be wondering, and actually while I'm seeing this, I'm not gonna use DRS. So just to keep things kind of scientific and each race being exactly under the same conditions. And yeah, for some of you that are wondering, why am I taking those results as a benchmark to evaluate this? If you've seen my last video, there I went for pure lap time. In this case, because we also have track stats like car stats like qualifying, overtaking, I think it would be kind of not a realistic result to answer the question when we just look at pure lap time, because things like qualifying and overtaking don't really matter for lap time. In this case, with cornering, yeah, I guess you could argue that it has an impact on lap time, but I hope you understand why I'm not taking the pure lap time in this case. And right now we're gonna do a pit stop, keeping them both on the medium tires, and yeah, just keeping things exactly the same. If they double stack, then that happens, although it is looking okay so far. Of course, if I have a safety car in the one race and no safety car in the other race, then that doesn't count. It has to be a race without a safety car. And yeah, I'm interested to find out what's going to be my average finishing position, my average race time, and how much will the track stat actually affect my results. And I think by looking at the finishing position and overall race time should give us a quite realistic, practical answer to the question of how much the track stats actually matter. So, in case there's no safety car or anything, I'm gonna finish this race now and then stop the timer. So yeah, let's see how the first race, the benchmark race, finishes. Okay, so no safety car came, that's great, and Behrman is now in the last corner, but I'm going to stop the timer as soon as Hadjar finishes the race. So both drivers cross the start-finish line, so I'm going to stop the timer now. So 4 minutes and 28 seconds is the time it took my drivers to complete the entire race with the balanced car setup, so not optimized for cornering, and I finished in P2 with 42 points. So that was one benchmark race. And I'm going to do this benchmark for every track in Series 3 so that we have some more data to evaluate later and compare to the optimized car for cornering. Okay, so now we're at Zandvoort and I'm going to start the timer now. Okay, so this is going to be the next test. This time Zandvoort, keeping the strategy the same, or in this case it's hard, but as soon as I make the comparison race, I'm going to take the same tire strategy. In this case, it can be a one-stop, so that's easy to reproduce. And yeah, again, let's see how I finish with this bench line, you know what I mean, with this test at Zandvoort. Okay, so we're currently in the last lap of the race, and this time a lot different results, a lot more mixed results. I'm a lot more in the midfield, so Bearman currently in P7 and Hadjar in P9. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the results are going to be a lot better once I have a car that's optimized for cornering. Let's see here, Bearman is going to almost about to cross the start-finish line, great. And Hadjar, then I'm going to stop the timer, boom. Okay, so that was the result at Zandvoort. I successfully did nothing throughout the race except pitting them at the right time. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for the remaining 2 Grand Prix in Series 3. Alright, so we are just about to set the final benchmark time. Bearman already crossed the start-finish line, and Hadjar, boom, 5 minutes and 4 seconds, P2 and P5. Finally, we set all the benchmark times, and now comes the very interesting part. We're going to see if we can beat these benchmark times, and by how far we're going to beat these times with a little car adjustment. Alright, I did some tinkering and tried out a lot of different car parts, and I think this is going to be the best comparison. So, as you can very clearly see, this car is now optimized for cornering. Speed, power unit qualifying, all very similar, still balanced when it comes to those stats, but cornering, just put everything into that, 132. But very crucially, and I think this is the most important part for this experiment to work, the team score is still 802. So very, very close to what we had before that with 804. So now we have a car with a similar team score that's now very clearly optimized for cornering. And now let's head into the races and see, is it going to be quicker? Or since it definitely should be quicker, how much quicker is this optimized car going to be? Let's find out. Okay, so we're about to start the first race with a optimized car at Austin, and I'm going to start the timer now. So, keeping, again, I have the medium tires, keeping both drivers on medium settings. I'm not going to do anything except pitting them at the right time or at the same time that I did before. And now I'm interested to see how is this car that's optimized for cornering going to compare when it comes to lap time, finishing position, and all that good stuff. So currently, Bearman P7, Hadjar P4. They're actually the other way around. That's interesting. So yeah, I'm going to complete this race without doing anything except pitting, and then let's see how the times compare. Okay, we're now in the final lap of the Austin race, and what can I say? Hadjar seems to really like a car that can corner well. So currently at 3 minutes 57 seconds, the time to beat is 4 minutes and 28 seconds. And yeah, Bearman now in the lead, Hadjar now in P2, so P1 and P2, that's definitely already better than what I had before. But I think the most important stat is the time, so let's see what that is. They're both going to cross the start-finish line pretty close to each other, and boom! 4 minutes and 19 seconds. That's 9 seconds quicker than what I had before. So, very interesting result, but it was just one race, it was just one track. It's going to be interesting to see how this compares with each track, but then also overall to kind of take luck out of the equation. Maybe I just got lucky in this race. So, let's do the same experiment for the remaining 3 tracks. So the next race, or next test, is taking place at the Hungaroring. So let's see what the qualifying result is. 11 and 16th. Okay, that's already worse than what I had before, which makes sense, and that's also why I didn't want to just take a look at lap time, but overall race results, because otherwise qualifying would just be completely irrelevant. So yeah, gonna keep it on the soft tire, same strategy what I had before, and then let's see how the time compares at the Hungaroring. So we're now in the final lap, or already along the final lap at the Hungaroring. Bearman is currently in P2, Hadjar is in P3 and fighting for P3 and in a lot of traffic. So Bearman's about to cross the start-finish line now, there you go. But the timer only stops when Hadjar crosses. The time to beat is 5 minutes and 22 seconds, and that's looking good. Boom, 5 minutes and 12 seconds, so 10 seconds faster. Again, 44 points in P2. Very interesting. Heading to the next track. And this time we are again at Zandvoort, and Bearman is just about to start the final lap, but actually Hadjar again, for whatever reason, is now in front of him. So yeah, as it seems, Hadjar really likes a car that can corner. Who knew that? And yeah, the time to beat at Zandvoort was 5 minutes 20, currently at 4 minutes 56, so looking good, but could be a bit closer than the other laps. Let's see. So Hadjar in the final corner, now final straight, but he's not the one that will stop the clock. He finished, and Bearman, boom, 5 minutes 16. Okay, so still quicker than the time they had to beat. Very interesting. Now we only got one more race to go before we look at the final results and overall results and see what we can learn from all this. Okay, come on, give me Montreal, give me Montreal. It's the last test, please, give it to me. Yes, finally! Oh my god, I had to cancel so many races. Finally, we can get into the last test. Okay, let's have a look at qualifying. Expecting a poor qualifying, since my qualifying stat is a lot worse, but let's see. It's looking bad. 10 and 12. Okay, it's alright. Worse than before. And keeping the same tire strategy as I did before. And now let's see how I perform, or how it all compares at Montreal. The last test. Hopefully we don't get a safety car or rain or anything like that. Okay, final corner at Montreal. Time to beat, 5 minutes and 4. Let's see, Hadjar about to cross. Boom! Very nice, very nice. We collected all the data, and it's a lot quicker. Wow, holy shit. P2, 43 points. Okay, very interesting. And now I'm gonna do some little evaluation, and then I'll get back to you with all the results and of course the overall results and what we can learn from all this. Alright, all the data is collected and the final results are in. And if you're just interested in the raw data, then here you go. You can have a look at that and feel free to pause the video. It's the data for each track, the race time, the points scored and all that. But if you're interested in the evaluation and what we can actually learn from that, let's get to it. So let's start with the average amount of points scored. So across the 4 races with the benchmark car, so that's not optimized for the track, I scored an average of 40.25 points. And now with the optimized car, that was in this case optimized for cornering, I scored an average of 43.5 points. So that's an increase of 8%. So quite substantial increase if you ask me. And taking a look at the average position, my average finishing position with a benchmark car was P2.5, and with the optimized car, it was P2. So if you want to put a percentage on that, that's 20% better. And the most important thing, in my opinion, that you've probably all been waiting for, the overall race time. So not the average, but just the overall race time combined across the 4 tracks. With a benchmark car, it took me 20 minutes and 14 seconds to complete the 4 races. And with the optimized car, it only took me 19 minutes and 43 seconds. So that's 2.5% quicker. Now 2.5%, it doesn't sound like much, but we all know when it comes to racing, 2.5% in lap time, that's a lot. So yeah, those are the final results. And now what can we learn from this? So first of all, we can now say that yes, track characteristics really matter, which I think is quite cool. Like sure, it's what we would expect, but it's nice to know that it's not just like a blah blah and the game just arbitrarily puts some track characteristic as optimal, but that it actually has like a real world impact and we can see it very clearly in the data that we collected. And the next thing that I think we can learn from this is that when we find ourselves in the situation where we have to decide between optimizing for the track or taking a part with the overall higher team score, which is I think the situation we most often find ourselves in when we're making these decisions, I think we can now say that the increase in team score needs to be quite substantial to counteract the very obvious benefit we get for optimizing for the track. But let's not forget that in the end, this was just a fun experiment in F1 Clash, and I think it's super cool that we can see such an obvious benefit for optimizing for the track. And this video also took a lot of time planning, recording, and editing. So if you enjoyed it, if you got some value out of this, it would be awesome if you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. So let me know what other things I should test in F1 Clash. Like, should we test driver stats, or in this case, I tested cornering? Should we maybe test other track characteristics? Let me know what you want to see, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.